Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this episode of Is It Working? Are we working? Oh, we also don't have Nick's desktop audio, so we're gonna go ahead and try to figure that out real quick. What joys we have really brought through today. All right, Nick, can you go ahead and talk for me?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
You're so loud. Just be quiet for just a second. All right, everybody, we're here. Hi.
We're good.
We barely
Thank
made
you for
it.
being patient.
If you're just joining us or you're watching the replay, we had a little bit of turmoil today. I had a driver error that had to restart a driver. When I did that, went ahead and closed every single thing that I had open. So we are recovering. We are working through it. If it looks like I'm scrambling, I am scrambling. So Nick, what we want you to
Yes.
do is go ahead, intro the show, tell everyone what office hours is, and I am going to run around like
A
a
little
chicken.
behind the scenes.
Behind the
Yes.
scenes,
Well,
yes.
welcome, guys. It's Friday, and every Friday here at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time, we are here with office hours. And you've caught us in our logo boot camp, and this is week number 4, and we are talking about logo systems. Wow, we've talked everything. We went into like the brief history of logos. We talked about word marks. We talked about logo marks as well. And now we are getting into this idea of the system. And we've got some really cool ones to show you what we've done in the past. And then we're going to take our examples from last week. We've got both the Beacon logo and the Titan logo, and we're going to create an entire logo system for you
Yep.
live. And you've got some great stuff on Discord as well. You guys have really done some great homework, right?
Yes. So if you don't know, we do have a Discord for the show down right there, discord.gg/ACC. Wow, I hiccuped right in the middle of that. There's no hiccup in the URL, but you can go to the URL right there. It will take you to our Discord. And that Discord is a great place for you to get some feedback and to really just hang out. So you can see here, we have some homework. Y'all have been doing such a great job. Each week we've been giving you an activity or learning something together, and a ton of people have been putting stuff in here. Nick, did you have any that you saw that you thought were like pretty cool?
I really went back and looked first. I think we loved what Frank had did last week. We saw that. Al threw in a really cool one I really liked.
Yep.
And then I really love what Rob did, where he kind of showed his whole process on that one slide. Everything from what makes up trustworthy, what makes up solid, what makes up established. And to me, those are the things that not only as designers I love to see, but I think a client is going to love to see that whole process. So some great stuff. What did you like?
So I think my favorite was probably this one that A Sorav did. It feels like Spartan-y somehow, which I think is
Yes.
really cool. Like it has like a little bit more like of a sharp edge to it, and I just love
Yeah.
that. I think it looks really cool.
Oh, these are just great. I think it's neat too to see what kind of all the different interpretations that can come out of the same brief,
Yep.
right?
And something else that we have in this show is we have our classroom chat right over here. You can see, you can join the Discord, and in the classroom chat, you can hang out there. We have a voice chat. So if you want to work along with us today, you can come on, you can ask a question, you can hang out, you can tell a story, whatever you want to do. Hop into the classroom chat, say hi to everybody, and we may bring you on the show a little bit later.
Perfect.
All right. So, that was Ashram. That was sorry, Ashram. Ashram. Oh boy.
Wow. Welcome to our Friday.
Ashraful, thank you. I put all the letters together. Ashraful, great, fantastic job. It looked amazing. Let's go ahead and hop in because we're already a little bit
We're a
late
little behind.
on
Yeah.
our pieces. So let's go ahead and look at some of the stuff that we're going to talk about today. Let's talk about the difference between like different sizes as versus like different variations of that logo.
Yeah, well, look at this one here. I think the River City one is a perfect example that it isn't just taking something and breaking it down and having 3 things, 2 things, 1 thing. They're actually doing different languages and different badges and different things. Some are vertical, some are horizontal, some are badge and shield. Such good, just great variety when it comes to that. Another neat version of what a logo system is the Google Doodles. They change every day.
Google Doodles.
And isn't that the coolest thing? Like, so it is based on their logo. Imagine whoever is the keeper of the archive. I'd love to be able to, I think you can just go and find that online somewhere. But that's a neat interpretation that they are allowing their main logo to be something totally different every day in association with maybe it's an official day of the month or a day of the year. And what a great idea to have as well. That's one of my favorites,
Yep,
because that is a
absolutely.
system.
Yeah.
And the Chicago Bulls have this incredible, you can see theirs as well. Everything has the sharpness, the angular vibe based off of that typography that kind of starts the whole logo, and everything just plays off perfectly as a collection.
Yep. And I love that the logo there is like the system also has different like angles for the Bulls. I think that that's super
Yeah.
interesting that it has the different angles.
Ooh, we got a question.
We have a couple questions. We do have that
Yeah,
question in
let's
Slack
do
as
it.
well that we need to talk about, Nick.
Oh, for
but
sure.
Laura from our live chat is asking a question. What are the most common questions you ask clients to be able to create a logo system? Ooh, that's a great question.
For the system specifically, I would ask for all the different applications of
Yep.
where the logo is going to be. I think, you've already talked about, let's talk about your logo and what it should be, right? We've already established that. But for the system, wouldn't you ask, like, what's the smallest? What is the largest area we might be? Will this be embroidered somewhere? Will this be silkscreen somewhere? And if they don't know what you're talking about, show them examples, because a lot of times I think that makes it super helpful. What would you say?
Yeah, I'd say the same. It's all about the application. And I try to do that when I like go into the branding as well so that I can
Yeah.
incorporate it into the design. Is try to figure out what are you going to use this for and how can we like help you with that. And I also name my file structure a lot of times to be like EPS files, shirts and prints, like
There you go.
PNG
Yes.
files, social media, and try to give them the idea of like, hey, here's what you are going to use this for, not necessarily like here's the source file, because a lot of times the clients don't understand what source files are or what file types are, and so it's
Yes.
very helpful to be able to like designate that for them.
And the best thing you can do too is if you have something in your past of a project you might have done where you did build a great system, or you've seen a great example of one, look into an industry that is similar to the client you're working with and see what do the competitors have. Do they have a shield? Do they have, a monogram? Or whatever it might be? Is it going to go on glassware? Is it going to be a restaurant?
Does this logo need to move?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh,
is it going to be
great idea.
animated, right? Because that's going to change the way that you design it. If you know that it's going to be animated in most ways, right? The DreamWorks logo. You're like,
Yes.
we didn't design that to be a visual graphic logo that you're going to slap on a t-shirt. That's meant to be in motion. It's meant to be an animation, right?
Yeah, that's very true.
so-
That's the newer one. I think that's the one we should all be starting to consider adding to our logo system is the motion one.
Yes, absolutely. So speaking of the logo systems, this is some great stuff that I think that this is actually the trend that we're starting to see is like a logo that becomes more things,
Yeah.
right? It's not just about the logo, it's about the world around it. And I love the DC Comics example. I think it's just genius.
And I can't believe that was lost. That only lasted about 2.5 years, and then they rebranded again. I can't believe it. And this whole idea was every part of the DC Comics thing had a dual identity, right? So this idea that the D is peeling back to not only reveal a C, but notice you had your Wonder Woman one, you had your Aquaman one, you had your Superman one, and it has this flexibility now to still read as DC first, but then be the supporting character as the second. That's one of my favorites. I love that one.
I still can't believe that USA Today gets away with having a circle be their logo.
They're that simple, man. It's kind of like MasterCard, right? With the two.
Yes.
Like, okay, so who has three? Someone's
Three
got to do a
circles?
3-circle one.
Audi?
'Cause Audi's 4,
Okay, somebody
and
needs
then
3.
the Olympics are 5.
And then the
so
Olympics
we
are
need
5.
a 3.
Chat, if you're watching this
need-
live or if you're watching this on YouTube, give us a logo that has 3 circles in it. That's
what we
the new.
need.
Oh, it's
That's
Disney.
what we need.
It's Disney.
Oh, well,
It's
I guess
it's
so.
Disney. I'm not wrong. No, I'm not wrong here. I'm right. I am correct. That is the correct answer.
I'll challenge you on that a little bit. But I
All
get
right.
what you're saying.
So let's go ahead and Nick, we had a question come in last week on Slack
yes,
that I
go
sent
for it.
you. Can you look at that? Because I don't have it up and I'm not going to dare open another window today.
I hear exactly what you're
So
saying.
Nick's going to
we've
pull up
got
another
that here.
question. As always, if you
here it
have
is.
questions, you can drop
Got
them
it.
in Discord. You can drop them in the live chat, or you can drop them down below the YouTube video if you're watching this on the YouTube replay. And again,
Perfect.
we just had a bunch of people hop in. Hi, we're office hours. We're here every Friday, 2:30 p.m. Pacific time, hanging out, helping you level up your design prowess. And we're in the middle of talking about logos. We're talking about logo systems today, which is going to be a fun one.
Here's
and
the
thank
question
you.
from last week.
Okay,
You ready?
what is the question for last week? And
So-
I am going to pull something up.
There we go. All right. How do you explain the rules of logo design to a client that insist on a color logo for the initial design when you show them a black and white concept. That's got like a lot of different things to ask. I think the
That
first thing
does.
to tackle is the first logo I show is pretty much done deal, not black and white. What do you do? Do you do the same? I used to do black and white first, but I found they have to. I just want them to see my two options, and that's all you get.
Yes. Yeah. I definitely do that. I show them, hey, here's the thing. Like, here is the
Yes.
thing. What do we think about this? Yeah. I think that that's what I like to do. And it's a matter of communicating how it's going to solve a problem for them, I think, is the big thing. Is like,
Yeah.
hey, I'm just going to talk about how this is going to solve a problem. And I think that that's a big sell to your clients to understand that.
Yeah, and if your process is only showing black and white first, may I suggest maybe trying a sketch first
Yep.
that's not anticipating to be color by the client's eye. So
Yep.
in that way, if they sign off on that and now you spend all the time in doing that. I remember I think it was Jen and Amy were talking about the idea when they show a lockup, it is 100% ready to go, no changes. And I'm like, that's exactly the confidence we should have in showing that first round.
Yep.
It
Absolutely.
should be, they should give it the green light and it could be printed tomorrow.
Yep.
So I'm
Cool.
I'm taking that road now.
Yep,
For
cool.
sure.
So we do have the Asana logo is three
There it
circles right
is.
there. Asana,
That's-
three circles, got it. And let's hop back in and keep talking here because we want to keep moving.
Yes, go for it.
Let's talk about the simplest version of building out a logo system. What is the easiest way to build out a logo system?
Yeah, and this just shows it in its most simplest form. You have your hero logo, which is technically your type and your logo mark. Then you might have one with some extras. That could be a line of description. It could be banking, like we were doing with Titan, right? Or theater, it might be with Beacon. Then you might have one. The third on the right is: are you adding an extra line of a motto or a tagline or something else? Then you've got just your name only, and then you have maybe your single icon or mark. So you can see this is just the beginning, because Andrew and I were talking earlier as we were setting this up. We were realizing there's really no limit to what this logo collection could be. There's so many options and so many. And then if you just add another version, now you're like, okay, well, you could do color, black and white, reverse as well. So there's no limit to it, but I wanted just to show you the simplest idea in a visual to give you an idea.
Yep, absolutely. And there is also the responsive version. And this is my favorite thing to look at is the responsive version. And Nick, I believe there's a website. Do you remember what the website was that shows these?
I don't remember. If Wade might know, I know
Yes,
a quick search, it's a logo, active logo responsive page on the web.
Yes,
that
we'll
does
drop
this.
a link over in the chat for you that does this. But what is the ideal behind a responsive logo versus what we just saw with kind of just building out logo variations?
This is just scalability for your screen. It literally is. This is going to live on so many different dimensions of a screen that you want to be ready to have this. It's almost this slightly abbreviated, and then the most smallest abbreviated little mark you can see for each one of these. And I think these are great ones, particularly Disney, even taking it down to just the D, right?
Yep.
Love that.
Yeah, we just have that singular little mark. I think, yes, is essential to being able to build that. And I think that becomes a logo versus a brand, right? When you can boil it down, that's when it becomes something that's like, oh, this doesn't need all the other stuff around it. It can just exist.
Yes, that's true.
All right, so continuing on here, let's talk about that responsive logo.
Yeah, here's the visual, right? You think about everything from, and you can even think of 3 or 4 things beyond the size of a big monitor, right? You've got big print, you've got the side of a building, you've got billboards. Then notice how the logo is going to be appeared on a screen, then maybe a tablet, then maybe on your phone, and then even down to a smartwatch, right? So notice as that goes, we have to be kind of understanding of how the logo is going to work better and better. I love it when a friend that is not a designer will spot something out on this, like on something very small, and be like, you know what? The logo of blank on my smartphone is just too small. Like, aren't they thinking of this kind of stuff? And that will tell you how real world needs to be up there with this kind of idea of what your logo size is for each application.
So with that, okay, you're tuning in here because you want to level up your abilities, your skills.
Yes.
Let's talk about the benefits of, and not just for you, right? And not
It's everyone.
For everyone. This is
everyone
us,
wins.
Yes, this is us giving you ammo so that you can get paid more, but then also that like your client feels like they're getting more value, they're getting more flexibility, all that stuff. So Nick, what are the sells of if you're trying to sell me a logo system instead of just making one logo for me? What's the sell?
Yeah, I think we summed it up. Everyone wins on this, right?
Yes.
The designer wins. You win because this can be a much bigger project and you can just simply charge more. It's as simple as that. And if you show these examples prior to it, they're going to understand why it's a little bit more than maybe what they might have been used to, right? So there's number one. Number two is the brand benefits. By having all this flexibility, they could be adventurous, they can try something new, and it's not like a rebrand, right? Like I've had a lot of clients that are like, hey, let's use that secondary logo on the packaging for the next time. I think we're going to do a retro kind of Christmas thing. And like, we're like, yes. So all of a sudden they get this idea to be flexible, adventurous, and brave with their brand. And then third is the consumer. They get a more compelling and attractive, just arsenal of cool stuff that's going to attract them and lure them into the product.
Yep.
So boy, everyone wins on this one, but you win the best because I think I've seen so many young designers go from like that $300-400 for a logo to over $1,000 just by doing this and including a system.
Yep. So I'm about to drop some exclusive content on y'all that you can have. That's going to be a guide for you. It's actually down here in the Discord if you'd like to download it. Discord.gg/ACC. Here's the list of what I like to send to clients as a logo system. Here's the full list. So as you can see, this is a lot. So we have a logo mark, we have a word mark, a stacked logo, a horizontal logo, and a favicon. And let's do this, Nick. We love doing giveaways on this show. Do you want to give away some like free stuff?
Why not? I'm ready.
Here's the question. Chat, let us know, what is a favicon? What is a favicon? And we'll pick somebody out of chat. We'll send you a nice little office hours merch kit. You'll get a little notepad as well as a koozie going into the summer months. So put it in there. Nick will go ahead and pick a winner. Let us know what a favicon is.
It'll be the first person with the correct answer. I'll be on the lookout on that. Ooh. The cozy. That's the can koozie. That's perfect for summer, man.
Yes, we need to order those for ourselves. We don't even have them. So with these, we want all of these versions, but also with and without a tagline, right? So we have full color, we have one color, we have reversed, which is like if it's white on a color background, and then we have all of these different versions that we have to build of the logo. So I actually have like a real world example that I want to show you of something that I actually have sent to a client. So, oh, that's not it. Hold please.
Please.
So this is some work that I've done that shows an example of that, but I have a better example that I had pulled up when my computer crashed right before this stream.
Is it one of your other tabs that you have open there?
It is not, but it is right here. Okay, so this is what I will actually send to clients. And this is their logo. So we have a horizontal logo, we have the word mark, we have that vertical logo, and then we have just the logo mark, right? So we have all of these, and they are all in every color, right? I have the white one here, which is the reversed out version. And then we also have versions of these with extra taglines on them. So you need a ton of different versions. And what's really helpful, I'll show you how I export these when we get into working, but it's really helpful to organize these as you go so that it doesn't become total chaos. But you can screenshot this, have this, and you got it. And it looked like, Nick, do we have a winner?
Yeah, it was Elizabeth.
It was Elizabeth. Elizabeth, if you don't have some office hours swag already, we'll send you some. Send me a DM and we'll hook it up. And then if not, let's see here. Who else?
If not, it was... Let's see.
Oh, what about this one right here that just came in? This looks like a winner right here. Anne Nagel.
Yes,
Anne, congratulations. Hello, Anne. We haven't seen you on the show before. Hi, nice to see you. Welcome to Office Hours. And send me a DM here on Behance. You can do that by just clicking on my face, wherever it is, or down in the description. I believe that you can get a hold of me as well. Send me a DM and we will hook you up with a nice little Office Hours prize package. So
great.
With that, Nick, do you want to go ahead and show some stuff on your screen?
Yeah.
I know that you had some things up to talk about, so go for it.
Yeah, we can go through these really quick. And I love that all of these are different interpretations of what a brand logo system are. This was one that not only did we have to do a singular badge, but then a vertical one, a horizontal one. Then we did patches. One thing I love about this is these aren't even considered logos, but they're just part of the language to use. Then we even made a pattern based out of all of the graphics that were in the actual logo type. Obviously, on the far right, you've got your black and white versions of them too. And then what I like to do is show them on, sample kind of layouts, how this would look with the actual photography and things like that. Some other ones as well. This was one for, you could see it was very simple, but what was cool was we showed it on a dark background, on a light background, and then on this craft paper background where it gets a reversed out white.
Ooh.
So there's so many cool different ways you can play around with it. This one has so many that it's like we are adding to it on a weekly basis because the client themselves goes, we need one that is this. So again, that always happens. And then this was a really cool one as well, where we even came up with this idea because a lot of people did not know how to pronounce the name, which is called TUIs. We made this secondary one that just helps the client understand, or the consumer, how to pronounce the actual name of the brand.
Nick, so, you want to go get dinner at Tuohes?
Yeah, Tuohes.
My favorite restaurant.
It's so much fun to kind of create these. And to me, one of the best things I like is when you can do a one color and it really, really has the variety as well. If that's going back to that question, if color is a thing and the person wants to have that signature color, why not do the logo system? Because you're adding variety to something that's already kind of limited, right?
Yep. And I actually have, it's funny because I have a similar screen up on mine of some logo work that I did that shows the variations of that, right? We have this full crest.
Oh, yes.
We have like a little more of a simplified. We have one that is just the letters. And then we have one that is this little favicon that is reversed out, right? The favicon is the small kind of thing that you put in the browser. So we have all those different variations. And so it is a logo, but it is very much like a bunch of different things. And Nick, I think you have the same example over there as well.
Yeah. Really neat. I like this idea that it to me, once you bridge over to this and show people this right from the very beginning, the whole project just becomes more compelling. Don't you agree?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I can't fire up all cylinders just for one logo. I want to do some really fun stuff and get challenged into all of these different things that are going to be fun. We'll go back to our Titan one, but to me, this is where it really gets fun. And think of these things too. These are those additional items that play with the brand, but they won't really they're not going to represent them as a logo would. But hey, more work, more money, right?
Yep, exactly. And I saw someone talking about the Discord link. Try that link again. It is right down here, discord.gg/ACC. Let's do this. If you are new and have never joined our Discord, go ahead, join Discord, and then just leave a comment in there and just say hi, introduce yourself, and we'll pick one of those people to be a winner as well, send you some swag. So join the Discord, post in Discord, introduce yourself, and do it in the Office Hours channel, and we will get you some cool stuff. All right, so Nick, let's go ahead and jump into the projects that we were working on last week.
Yeah.
Do you want to give a little brief of what you were working on last week, and then I'll talk about what I was working on?
Perfect.
And then we can get started.
Yeah, so we each challenged ourselves to do kind of a logo very quickly in last week. If you've missed it, go back to episode 3 and you'll see what we did. And we put briefs together, and this was for Titan Banking. The idea here was to be trustworthy, strong, with a foundation. We had a great little creative brief together that was all about what the client's expectations were. So where we left off was something as simple as this, right? We had this one ready to go, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to start my system a little bit here. So I know I've got that can be my hero one, right? This one is my hero one, maybe without banking. And then I could do another one just like that. And I've got this cool tagline that I'm going to say, achieving your financial potential. So we've got that kind of idea here as well. Again, I'm going to put that here. Yes.
And as always, chat, if you would like to work along with us, feel free to work along with us, create your different versions of a logo. If you have one already, if you've watched one of our past episodes where we created logos, grab that logo, create some versions of it with us, and then post in Discord. We love to see the work that you were doing.
There you go. So I'm just kind of messing around. Let's give it maybe title case. That looks pretty good. So obviously I've got a few here as well. And then I noticed here, I want kind of just a badge solo, right? And one thing we need is that either that favicon or the thing that you're going to be using for your profile pic or whatever it is, right? So what I technically do is I'm going to start with a perfect square, And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to get my logo in here. I'm going to reverse it out to white just for now so we can see how this looks. And I'm going to get it about that big here. But here's my tip. What I like to do, and I'm sure you've probably done the same thing as well. When this is here, what I will do is I'll draw a circle right over it with the same kind of thing. So I'm just going to draw a circle kind of right over it. Because I know if it's going to crop for the Instagram and for like LinkedIn, it now everything's circle, right?
Yep.
So knowing that I have that, I'm going to center it here and get it here. I don't want to have something this big in that square because then it's going to get cut off by the circle. So I'm going to find that perfect kind of balance. What's nice, I always look and see what other people are doing because a lot of times I think my scaling is like completely off sometimes.
I always
So
think I feel I scale too close to the edge.
exactly, right? So there we go. So now I know this is pretty good and centered, and I can get rid of that circle if I need to. But that's what I'm going to save for the PNG or whatever it is. So when it does get cropped, now I've got that perfect circle that's going to be there as well. And I could do a whole other version of it. I can give it this version as well. And this is the great part about it. Now I'm like going, okay, look at this. I've in like what, a minute, I've built like 7 different logos that we can just try. This one will be here. Maybe we want to do one in our secondary color as well, just like that. And now the other stuff is just your type all on its own, right? We were talking about that as well. You can have Titan banking. You can have Titan on its own. So here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've just created 9 that quickly. And again, I think we can continue to go more. I could do my one color versions, my reversed out ones, you name it, right?
Yeah. So I'll show you how I kind of address that. So this is my logo that we worked on for the Beacon Theater during the last episode. If you haven't watched it, you can check that out by going to the playlist. Just search Adobe Office Hours on YouTube. There's a playlist. Check out our last episode where we created these logos. But I kind of want to show you how I create them. So I go by color and by variation, right? So I know that I'll probably have 5 maybe different colors of this. And so I'll click and drag holding Alt or Option, and you can see that it makes a copy. See how it has those little 2 triangles? Yep. And so I'll make a copy of it, and then I'll just hit Control D, Control D, Control D, and that moves it by the same amount of pixels. So let's do that one more time, and I'm just gonna make 5 copies, right? Let's do 6, why not? So we have full color here, and so this is just gonna be my full color column. And then from here, I'm gonna do, let's say this will be my purple column, this will be my red column, and then I'm using the eyedropper tool to grab these colors. We almost always need to have just a black one, and then we almost always need to have just a white one. Now the white one disappears on an artboard, and so I'll always drop a color behind the white one. So I just made a little rectangle, arrange, send to back, and that will make it so that now I have at least a column here to start working with. So what's nice is I can work in these columns, and the size doesn't matter as long as I stay organized in these columns, right? So I know this is the vertical stacked version of it. Got it, right? Got it. Easy. Cake. And so I have a vertical stacked version of it. Maybe I want to do a horizontal. So I'll make a copy of this, and then I'll figure out how do I want to scale this, right? Maybe it scales all the way across so that we do like this massive kind of beacon, and I'm actually not mad about this at all. And so then it's gonna have to scale down pretty small, but we'll scale it down, and then I'll just put it. Did I invert that?
Can't remember what you did, huh?
Wow, something really weird happened. So that looks pretty okay, but not great. It's a little too small. So I can grab this piece, maybe pull it up, and now I have a horizontal, right? That feels a lot better. So I have horizontal, and then we want to grab just the type here. I can make a copy, and I'll put just the type here. And then the same thing, I can go in and do maybe one that is a favicon. I'm only doing this because I want to show you the problems we run into when we start to reverse things out. Yeah. So we have a bunch of versions here. Let's go ahead and just align them to this object. Boom. So now we have our variations. I can just click and drag to make copies of these, and boom, boom, boom. Got it. So the color ones are really easy because we're just copying that color over, right? Easy, easy, easy. Now, what happens that ends up being an issue is with the white one, we start to run into some readability issues, right? When it's reversed out here, it actually looks pretty good here, but we may want to add a little bit more clarity, right? So that it's not as dense. And so what I want to do is, let's try it with this black one here, is I'm going to try to add a stroke to make it a little bit thicker, and I'm just going to make that stroke white. So let's see what happens if we add a little bit of a stroke here. it killed the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because I did it the opposite way. All right.
Actually, you want to keep it black filled, but add a white stroke to everything.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah.
Yes. So maybe we add like a 2-point stroke. So now you can see it's much thicker. And so when I zoom out, it looks more readable, right? So between this top one and this bottom one, it reads as if they're the same, even if it is a different version. So that's something that's really important to think about, that your favicon may not be just down a scaled down version. It may be a completely custom version of what that needs to be, right? The same with this beacon lettering. By itself, when it gets small, maybe it's too close, right? Yep. And so we need to come in here and think, okay, let's have a version of this where it's, completely spaced out differently. And we have a lot more, connection happening between the letters.
Correct. I love that when you show that as well, you should make sure you're clearly marking for, let's say, that one that you did for the favicon, that is only to be used on that. And you want to make sure your brand standards are telling them that this is only to be used on, when the logo is an inch or smaller, right?
Yep.
Like something like that. That way there's no mess up, because brand consistency is pretty key here.
Yes, it's a really, really big deal. And so you can see here, right, if I shrink this down.
Yes.
So let's actually do a comparison between these two. Right? This looks very smudged and not readable, and this gives us a little extra, right? You can't read this down here, but you can kind of read beacon. So doing little beacon, yes. So doing little augmentations like that can actually make a huge difference, but you need to make sure that you note those.
Yes.
And Nick, I saw you doing something over on your side that I want to talk about that I think is really interesting.
Yeah.
What were you doing over on your screen as we were talking?
This part here?
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say, can we make a pattern? I think brand patterns are another way to add to this thing and have something uniquely cool that they're going to want to use. And why not put it in there, get the money up front, add it to the collection. So all I was doing was, I'm going to just start with these two and see because I like the way these kind of connect. There's something cool about the way all of these little alleys kind of line up really nicely.
Yep.
So I'm going to try, this could be completely wrong, but I'm going to go to pattern and make. And what's neat is I'm going to get this little kind of idea here of what I want to do. But what's neat is you can get in here and you can mess around with these. I'm going to go maybe a little bit here. Let's try by column. Too bad, right? You can off shift these a little bit more. I can try the hexagon one. That's actually overlapping. We'll go back to column. And here's where you can just add a little bit more. So instead of 2.8, I'm going to go 3.1. And then here I'm going to go 2.5. Maybe go back to this one a little bit here, 1.7. Again, there. Okay, so now I've got something kind of cool. And now I can hit done here. And what I'm going to get is I'm going to have this pattern that I can just use anytime that's in my thing here. Oh, that's the line. We'll go back here. We'll go back to fill. There we go. So I have this cool pattern I can use at any time. Try it here.
Yep.
There we go.
And so this is something that I think is a secret weapon of selling a brand, is scaling it with a pattern. So even mine, there is potential for a pattern here. I'd have to do some real work to make it work. But being able to sell that as a bonus is a huge deal. And if you're wondering what that's called, it's called a tessellation.
There you go.
When you take a logo and you flip it and try to rotate it to create a pattern, it's called a tessellation. And Nick, that actually looks really good.
I didn't think it was going to work, but I can actually work on you can see how the spacing here got a little bit too much, but you can go right back in there and change that up a little bit. But you can even make 3 versions of your thing. You can make a reversed out. You can make a one color. So this pattern now has added a whole other chapter to, to your invoice. That's what I'm thinking.
Yep, exactly. Right. We just made some more money.
Exactly.
So again, that's a really, really great way to do that. So I do want to show you real quick. And we did start today's show a little bit late. So if you're watching it live on Behance at 2:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, it will probably get cut off right at the end. But if you're on YouTube watching this replay, you're getting 10 minutes of bonus content, baby.
Yes, bonus content.
And if you want to hang out, you can also click on like the title of this video on Behance, and it will take you over there when we're getting ready to land the plane. Don't go now,
nice.
But we'll give you some bonus content because we did go a little bit short today. So I want to show you next how we can sell this to the client and how we export. Okay.
Ooh.
This is the most technical side of it. So if you've ever worked on building a logo system and you need to give it to a client, we're going to use this one. And what I do is I use artboards. And the great thing that I like to do is try to size things. And we did have a question about how do you size for print or digital. I always size things very large because I know that a lot of clients that I'm working with don't know what they're going to be doing with it. And I'd rather have it be a large file type than a pixelated logo. So for social media, I size the logos to the full size of an Instagram image so that they can't go any bigger than that. I'm like 1080 by 1080 pixels.
Perfect.
For the print, I always size it to the size of a single sheet of paper that is 8.5 by 11, 300 pixels per inch. So I do really, really high quality, and you can kind of get away with thinking, what will they use this for? And just use it at the max size. So I want to talk real quick about how I do these exports. So right here is I'll make one of these logos, right? And then let's say that we have logos just thrown all over the page. Check this out. Something that you can do that's really cool is if we have a logo that we're just working with, like over on our beacon logos, right? We have all these beacon logos. What I can do is I can actually grab the artboard tool, which yes, does exist. And it's right over here underneath this spray paint right here. So artboard tool right above the hand. And we're going to click on the artboard tool and then just click on the things that we want to be logos. So check this out. I click right there and it's going to snap an artboard exactly to the size of that. Now it needs to be grouped. So it's not grouped with the type underneath. So I'm just going to group these real quick. Yep. So we're just going to do this. And then all I need to do, and we're going to delete, goodbye.
There you go, because he's there.
All you need to do is, grab the artboard tool, and then you just double click.
Boom.
And check this out. It's going to create all these artboards for me, and it's sized correctly. It has perfect pixels. Nothing needs to happen here. It literally has just done everything. And I can do that with all of these different versions, right? I'm just double clicking, and it's making all these versions exactly what I want them to be. So what's cool about working with artboards is not only can you stay organized, but you also can use them in exports. So we're going to come here to our artboard panel right over here. And you can see we have all of these artboards. And I'm like, how do I name these all? This is crazy. So I can click here and it will take me. What were we doing here, Andrew?
Oh, those were you. That was the stage.
That was a sketch.
Oh, that's great.
So we have all this, right? And you're like, wait, what's happening? Why do we have to rename all these? You don't. We can come up here to File, Export, and Export for Screens. This is my favorite thing in Illustrator. Export for Screens. It shows you all the things you're exporting here. So we can say, oh, I don't actually want this one right here. But then, oh, cool. Here is my beacon. So I can say logo full color, right? Perfect. And so then we can go through and just double click on these names. And we can do logo purple. And what's going to happen is as we name all of these, you can choose what you want to export, what you don't want to export. And then we can export them in different ways, right? So we can do a PNG. And let's do this. Let's do a PNG. And we're going to set that at 300 because we're going to make it so that it can print. And now we have a PNG, right? We want to click on these settings and make sure that our PNG is transparent so they can put it on everything. And then maybe we want to add in an SVG here as well. So we can add an SVG. And what's cool is we can add a prefix to all of these. So I could put in just logo.
Yep.
Right? Or I could put in beacon and then it would export and say beacon logo full color and it would export into different sizes. So let me show you what that looks like in application. So we have all of these different logos here, right? All these different variations and I've named them all.
That looks like a lot of time, but oh my God, it is so worth setting up all of your artboards.
It saves so much time because look at this. If I go right here, right? Export for screens, everything's named, and you can just go in and type them in, right? Everything's named. I can do as many different exports as I want. Like, let's do JPEG. It'll do all of these PDFs. Why not? It'll do all of these at the same time. It's magic. And watch what it looks like. So this is what it ends up looking like when I export it all. And this like overwhelms the client in a good way. So right here, we have our brand assets folder that I send over, and we have assets right here. Oh, that's not it. Hold on. Wait for it. Logos. That's what it is.
There we
so
go.
I have EPS, I have PNG, and I have SVG. Every one of these is named. There we go. We've got the name. We've got the title. We've got the color in there. All these are named, and they exported at the same time all together, right? I didn't have to worry about doing any of the things. And if I ever need to make a change, boom. Look at this. There's like 90 files in here. So I usually send, somebody is asking in our live chat, I usually send an EPS, a PNG, and an SVG to the client. And then I also will give them this Illustrator file that is everything sized to the appropriate size.
Perfect. And then typically what I will do is I'll take it one step further from this, because they might not ever use this page. We made it to make that export so easy. But then the graphic standards are a page where you could take that page now and just show them in nice columns, and that way that it's printable, and put the name that you gave each one of them underneath those. So now that's their glossary, right? That's their thing that they can look at and go like, oh, what was the thing I have to look up for the file name that Andrew sent us? So anything you could do that make it so much easier for them after you've given it to them is such a great advantage.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Simone is talking about doing asset export. Yes, asset export is an amazing tool in Illustrator as well. We will be covering that in a few weeks in our Illustrator 202.
Perfect.
So we will be talking about that. It's a little advanced, but it is. Yes, thank you, Simone. And we do have a couple questions coming in that I want to talk about
what do we got?
For chat. And just as a warning, if you are watching this on the live stream at behance.net/live at 3:32 p.m. Pacific time on March 25th, we're about to get cut off in 3 minutes. So we'll be leaving Behance in 3 minutes, but you can click on the title. Nick, can you point up for me?
Yes.
Right there. You can click on the title for the YouTube and go over to YouTube. We'll keep going there, give you some bonus content. If you're watching on YouTube in the replay, thanks for watching.
Hey.
All right, so here's some questions.
We knew you'd stick around.
We knew you'd stick around. Drop your questions, YouTube, if you're there. Drop them down below. All right.
Yeah, please
so
do.
Here's some questions. What do you do if you have an image that's too big to export as a PNG with 300 PPI, but you need to print it as a vinyl decal?
Oh, what vinyl? Sometimes what I've done with service bureaus that are doing it, they wouldn't mind getting it in 50% scale, and then they'll increase it to 100% to fit perfectly. So if it ever has that problem, see if the vendor or whoever is receiving the file is okay with that.
Yep, absolutely. And so I want to show something real quick that kind of addresses that. And it's the difference between vector and raster, right? So on the right here, we have a raster image. And this would be a PNG, a JPEG, right? Anything that's not a vector format. And so you can see that it gets very pixelated regardless of how good the quality is, right? But with a vector, which would be an EPS, an AI, an SVG, any of those, will stay crisp. And so when you're cutting a vinyl, you want to use a vector, which is here on the left, because the machine is just looking at this line. It is following this line.
Bless you.
So the machine is just following this line. So you want to send over something like a AI file, which is an Illustrator file, an EPS, which stands for
encapsulated
postscript syndicate, something, and then an SVG, which stands for scalable vector graphic. So when you're doing vinyl cuts, so important that it stays in the vector zone and doesn't go into a pixel zone.
Like, I don't know why someone would be asking for maybe the PNG. It might be like an online order, which I know a lot of places when you're uploading, they just say send a PNG. But if you can do the vector based, then you got nothing to worry about scalability and file size.
Yep, absolutely. Yep, and we're about to go over, so join us on YouTube. We're going to give you guys another 10 minutes here, and we're just going to answer your questions because this is super fun. So another question that just came in, does asset export give you the same quality as your libraries? There are ways to do that, but I do want to point out real quick libraries, because literally what I just showed, right, from this screen that we're on right now, let me go ahead and zoom out. So from this screen, I also exported all of these pieces into a library that I can send over to the client. And check this out. This library has all of the different versions. So look at all these. This is how you build a logo system. We have all of the different categories here, all the different taglines, colors, body copy, all the different logo variations. We've got stacked logos. We've got the logo type in here. We've got the horizontal logos. So libraries is a fantastic way to do this. But what we can do is we can actually use these libraries in so many different places. So hello, yes, thank you everyone that's over on YouTube now. So we can use this in a bunch of different places. And we're going to come back next week, and we're not ending right now. I'm just plugging next week's show. Next week's all about Creative Cloud Express. And Creative Cloud Express integrates with the libraries so that we can export our logo system into a library and then show our client how to use Creative Cloud Express to like make stuff on their own, which is like a big deal. It's a big deal. It's super easy. So make sure you come back next week. If you're just watching this, look for the title that says Building a Brand. I think it is the title for the one after that.
Hey, there we are. We are all on YouTube now.
We're all on YouTube now.
Perfect.
We're hanging out. Ooh, it feels so off limits. It feels
Let's go. Yeah.
Secrets. Okay, so Nick, you were working on something over there, which I think was interesting. What were you doing with the title?
I wanted to try to build maybe a badge or some kind of a circular piece that is maybe just the badge itself with our tagline and a different interpretation of maybe what we're going to have underneath it. So all I was doing, I was also trying some fun stuff out with the pattern as well. I like to give sometimes clients little lockups of how it might work on a brochure or something cool like that. So here I've got something text on a path. What I'm going to try to do is do the bottom one as well. And I think this is funny. Everyone has a different way of doing text on a path and then how to do the bottom part. Excuse me for that. And what I basically do is I get in on type on path and you go to options. And what you could do is you can change the align path to center. And watch what this is going to do here. It's going to actually take that. Now, when you duplicate something, all you've got to do is basically flip it because it's basically on the same. You've lined it up and aligned it to the center line rather than the top or the bottom of it. Yep. So I'm just going to copy it and then do a paste in front, which is Command F, and then just turn it. And you can see I get this perfect thing here. This little anchor, when you bring it in, that allows you to kind of flip the font there. So now here I can just take this and we can do Titan banking. And if you want, maybe this is where you can get a little more official and put in a co or something cool like that.
Yep. And again, this is something that even though this isn't on the list that we provided you of like things that you should do for logos, right? I made this like long list of like, here's the logo variations. Like you might need additional badges like this one that Nick is creating.
There you go. So you might have these fun ones to kind of go like, hey, we can mess around with this. This could be used on, maybe they're doing some kind of an engraving thing or something kind of cool. And I like to find that perfect way where like, that probably went a little bit too much. So I'll make the letter spacing like 130 and give yourself a nice break there. We can even put maybe a little bullet or something. So all of a sudden we're getting something kind of cool. Let's change the color to that. There we are.
And these are things that increase the perceived value of what you're providing to the client.
Exactly. I love this idea because now this can be one color as well. Okay, so there you go. We've got another 8 logos. We got to make this one color, another color, the white, the black. And again, you've got all these really fun ones to mess around with. And I think we've just shown you there's no end to this kind of idea.
There's no end,
really.
Yeah. So you need to protect yourself as the creative when you're doing this. Don't get yourself into so many variations that you end up dying under the weight. Yeah. So I did that. So we have all of our logos here, right? But then we also have a little badge that's a tagline. And then we also have their actual tagline. And you can see in the Creative Cloud library, I was like, oh, cool, let's make a graphic that's their tagline. Oh, I need to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 versions of that. So every time that you have an idea of something to include in that like brand logo collection, be
Yes.
careful because you have to make like a million versions of it. So just keep that in
Oh,
mind as you keep going.
yeah, I love the one you did with the rounded version, the community over the badge there. That's really cool.
Yep. And we have a question coming in. This is the first time that I've said this in a long time. We have a question coming in from our YouTube audience.
What?
Somebody says, how do y'all go about presenting colored logo options with a client that has their mind made up on the colors that they want? Ooh.
Oh, I'm talking color probably long before they ever see a first comp. Like my discovery deck's gonna tell them what works and why, and sell them in then. So then when they see the logo in the color, they get it. Now that doesn't work every time, right? There's still gonna be the one that fights for that green. I just I think the more you do up front, the better your chances of them seeing your way. The less you do, you're gonna be fighting with them. So I've tried to do everything to avoid that fight and give them the value up front, and then you give them the logo.
Yep,
What do you
absolutely.
do? Yeah.
I will almost always show logos show colors, and I have an idea before I get there. If they are set on a logo, this is something that we've said on Office Hours that you can go. Take it to the bank, take it for free, tweet about it, put it in the comments, whatever. You are working toward a purpose, not a preference. And so when you're talking with your client and they say, we have to make it green. If you say, okay, cool, your business is a bank and making it green is going to make people think that they want your money, right? Green is something that feels like maybe greed. It feels like it could be like stinky, right? Like a stinky cheese is green. And there's all this color psychology, right? But then we say, oh, but blue is a color that's been proven to be trustworthy. It's a color that feels clean and feels strong and like resilient. And so maybe we should explore blue because that would be a better solution to what the problem is we're facing. So those conversations are really big in kind of convincing the client when they have their mindset on something is say, hey, I know you want this. I know maybe I want this. Let's figure out what is the best option for both of us.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to say it. Again, more upfront. Don't surprise them with the color, and don't let them run the conversation and saying it's got to be green at the very beginning. That's not why they came to you. They came to you for the expertise that, like Andrew just said.
Absolutely. So with that, Nick, what is going on next week for Adobe Office Hours?
Next week, we are talking all about Creative Express.
Yes, we are talking about Creative Cloud Express. If you haven't downloaded it, you don't have to because it's in the browser if you want to. You can go to express.adobe.com or you can download it on your mobile device. It is super powerful and it's a great way as creatives to help our clients implement their brands, right? So what we're going to do next week is we're going to take a lot of the branding that we've been working on. Nick's got it up already. Look at that. Shameless plug. And we're going to go maybe even out into our towns and see how you can use Creative Cloud Express on the go. And we're going to have a ton of fun. So join us next week. And as always, join the Discord down here. Go hang out in the Discord. We
want to see your logo systems.
We want to see your logo systems. If you build them out, put them in Discord, and we will see you there. Until then, Nick, when can they watch if they're tuning in again and want more of this delicious, sweet Office Hours content?
It's got to be every single Friday at 2:30 p.m. Pacific time. Behance.net/Adobe Live, and then you can catch us all out on YouTube for everything we've recorded. We're coming up on 100, guys.
100 episode is coming up real quick. And Nick, where can people follow you?
I'm at longodesigns.com and Longo Designs on Instagram. How about you?
I am at hawk.co, HOCHDOTCO on social media. I forgot how the words worked. All right, I'm going to go lay on the floor. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Sorry about technical difficulties. We'll see you again for another episode of Adobe Office Hours. Bye.
Thanks so much for joining us.